In this video, we're going to look at the examples from the 5-3 slides. This is multiplication and division with signed numbers. So we start with -2 times -2. We can write that as -1 times -1 times 12 times 2. But -1 times -1 is 1, so this is just 12 times 2, which is 24. 10 times 3 is 30, of course. Here we've got 25 times -3, so that's -1 times 25 times 3. 25 times 3 is 75, so that's -75. Then we've got -5 times 7, that's -1 times 5 times 7, or -35. Here we have slightly more complicated problems because we have 3 numbers or more to multiply. 4 times -2 times 6. Okay, well that's -1 times 4 times 2 times 6. 4 times 2 times 6 is 48, so this is -48. -3 times 4 times -5 is -1 times -1 times 3 times 4 times 5. 3 times 4 times 5 is 60. And -1 times -1 is 1, so this is just positive 60. -2 times -8 times -3 is -1 times -1 times -1 times 2 times 8 times 3, which is 48. Now we can cancel off 2 of those, but we're still left with a -1, so we get a -48. Finally, -2 times -3 times -4 times -1 is -1 times -1 times -1 times -1 times 2 times 3 times 4. Well, those two cancel for a +1. Those two cancel for a +1. 2 times 3 times 4 is 24. Some more multiplication. -2 times 6 times -1 times 3, that's -1 times -1 times -1 times 2 times 6 times 3. Since we have 3 negatives, that's 1 negative ultimately. 2 times 6 is 12 times 3 is 36. This is -36. Here we have 2 negatives, so we can cancel those and we don't have to worry about them. We've got 2 times 5 times 3, which is 30. Three times -2 times 2 times 0. This makes it really easy because once we have that 0 factor, this whole thing becomes 0. -9 times -2 times 8 times -1, that's -1. We know that the other negatives will cancel, times 9 times 8 times 2 is -144. Finally, we've got 5 times -2 is -10, plus -8 times 0 is 0, so that's just -10. In a 3-week period, a technology stock declined approximately 2 points per week. How many points did the stock decline in 3 weeks? Well, that's 3 weeks times 2 points per week is 6 points. Here we're asked to evaluate some exponents, some of them with negatives. 4 cubed is 64. 0 to any power, except for 0, is 0. -2 to the 4th power is -2 times -2 times -2 times -2. But that's the same as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 because we have an even number of negatives. That's 16. -2 to the 4th power, we can put the parentheses in like that to see what we're getting, because that negative is out front. So 2 to the 4th is 16. We take that negative, we get our -16. -3 to the 5th. That's the same as negative 3 to the 5th, because 5 negatives makes a negative. 3 to the 5th is 243, so this is negative 243. Here we have negative 3 to the 5th, which is exactly the same thing, and we get negative 243. Security systems sometimes use a 4-digit code to activate the system. How many different codes can be made with 4 digits? We've got 10 different digits to choose from. This is 10 to the 4th power, or 10,000. But we would generally prefer that they not just be repeating digits. Divide negative 8 by negative 2. Those negatives cancel, and this is just 8 divided by 2, or 4. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 10 divided by negative 2, here we have to account for that negative. That's negative 10 divided by 2, or negative 5. And negative 9 divided by 1 is just negative 9, because anything divided by 1 is itself. Finally, negative 3 divided by 0 is undefined. We cannot divide a number by 0. 0 divided by 0, instead of being undefined, is indeterminate. We still can't divide it, but it's a little more complicated when we deal with 0 divided by itself. And 0 divided by 5 is 0. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, please get in touch.